that if that had not gone my way, I was probably looking at shutting up shop. Because it would have decimated me.
So you mentioned last year you had a couple of problems with bad debts and that sort of thing. Can you just briefly lead us through that? What happened?
Well, I had the unfortunate be in the unfortunate position of having back-to-back disputes with two customers. Firstly, we built an 1,800 square metre warehouse for a local main contractor that turned out to be, less than credible. And he tried to withhold the last month's payment, or the final payment. Classic approach, and use every excuse under the sun not to pay. The second dispute, which was the very next job, was at the local camping ground, whereby we were engaged to build 4 cabins to augment the camping ground. In my view, they were way too much for a camping ground. They were overspec'd, and as a result, the customers overspent, and then became difficult towards the end. And that relationship broke down because we were accused of underperforming and overcharging.
So it was at that point that you contacted me, I think.
Is
that right?
It was. That's when I reached out to you, Michael, and with a please help. And of course, you really don't know what you're getting yourself into. Whether you're going to meet somebody that knows their stuff enough, is prepared to back your argument, believes in you, and not just, oh, here we go again. Very grateful that once I got to know you better, that that your intentions and your moral compass was in the right direction as far as the building industry goes. And that's something I was certainly looking for at the time.
And how do you feel? What was the result?
Well, the end result was that with the first dispute, we negotiated a positive outcome. I mean, I was staring down the barrel of getting nothing, of course. You'll remember that in the end, we got about 2/3 or 3/4 of the money, which was a big achievement, especially dealing with that particular character who was very obstructive to it all. And the second result was a resounding success, and that was, I got all the money and some that we were seeking. So, a really positive experience, in the end, and very grateful that I touched or reached out to you at the beginning of it all.
Cool. Actually, those 2 cases, it wasn't just the money they owed you, which was quite a lot of money. It was the counterclaims that they were bringing in against you as well, which brought the overall spectrum of risk, to be quite a sizable amount.
Well, it was virtually double the amount that I was seeking. And that if that had not gone my way, I was probably looking at shutting up shop. Because it would have decimated me. As it was, by getting the result that we got, not only have I been able to carry on, but it's given me a platform to flourish.
Yeah, fantastic. And of course, you got on and got new contracts, new staff, and what have you, I understand.
That's right. Yep. No, it really has kind of gone from and again, it's not an ideal economy or situation out there, but we've managed to secure more work. We've become established within our location. We have a good rapport with a number of main contractors now. So I have a real I've cemented my place, which was ultimately my goal. And now I run a gang with 10 guys in it.
Excellent. So we during this process, I introduced to you the contract management service.
That's right.
CMS for short.
Yeah.
So explain to me what you believe is the benefit of that to your business.
Well, I guess before the CMS, I would use generic, contracts and what have you. And I guess, while people will sign up to these things, when things start to get tough and they can be a bit riddled with clauses or, people can find their way out of that, especially if you're dealing with somebody that can bankroll their argument better than you can. I guess what I found from the CMS, underpinned by yourself and the Building Hub, is that, it gives my position an extra backbone to it. That there's some legitimacy behind it, and that if you're going to take on the CMS contract, well, then you got to be prepared to do so, because it really has tightened up the legality side of the business, and that's made it really refreshing for me, so I can just concentrate more on business.
Uh, an analogy actually Jody mentioned was that the CMS is actually the ambulance at the top of the cliff. Would you agree? Would you agree with that?
Oh, very much so. Yeah, I mean, too often, you do end up having to engage with lawyers and the legal profession after the car crash or
Yeah.
after the cliff. But you're right. Having that in place gives me the peace of mind that I'm protected from the get-go. It also forces the clients to step up and say, okay, we're going to play with a straight bat ourselves.
Yes.
And that's certainly been my experience now with the CMS,
Okay.
with the jobs I've taken on there. And so really the financial worry of a job has now almost disappeared entirely. I've been paid on time. Variations have been agreeable and a lot easier. Yeah, and the way that it's set up with contractual work and then variation work makes it clear to both sides exactly where you stand in real time.
So, having understood all that now and having experienced all that, how important or essential would you say that contract management service is to your business overall?
Well, I think it's vital now. It's become part of my business strategy, along with all the other tools that I need to run a successful business. Um, you know, Again, being in the commercial realm where, contracts can get quite high and the money on the table, can be, significant. It's just given me a huge peace of mind that if we're going to take the risk of sending in a full gang to do a job, that I can pay them on time, and and I can expect to, create a profit from that as well. Cash flow is, as you know, is the lifeblood of any business, and that's what the CMS has really protected for me, is that ability to get paid when expected, so that I can keep the business going.
We've discussed a little bit about CMS protecting you from liability as well at times. Is that something that's important to you?
Well, absolutely. I mean, I guess for me, we go into every job not expecting to be liable, or, to have problems. But of course, we live in the real world. Things don't always pan out. So even with, the best intentions, again, the CMS has just clarified everyone's position and their responsibilities, which again gives me one less thing to worry about, and I can focus on the job.
And one thing we've talked about is the very, very strong clout that the construction contracts act gives you if you do your contracts, your payment claims and variations under CMS correctly.
Correct, yes. And of course, that's been an enlightening and educational moment for me. A lot of builders won't know just how much protection there is with the law. Well, we all know about the CCA. Enforcing that can be another problem, the building hub and yourself have just given the insulation and comfort to me that if things were to go south, that there's someone batting in our corner for us.
And have you found the service pretty affordable?
Oh, extremely so. I mean, from my point of view, it's well worth the money. When I'm dealing with six-figure contracts, the CMS is very good value for money. Cool. Yeah.
So, would you recommend it to the other members?
I think you'd be foolish not to be honest. It is such a good protection. I would recommend it to anybody out there. They should certainly consider it for what it is. Not only have you got the protection of the law, but you've also got people like yourself that will advocate and translate the law to the builder so that it can be easily understood. So you know where you stand. Is it worth pursuing, or do I leave it where it is?
And is it helpful to be able to pick up the phone at any time during the project, as we often do?
Yeah, well, I think I call you more than some of my best friends, Michael. So I think you can say yes, it was well and truly worth.
Maybe I am your new best friend.
Well, you certainly contributed to the business a lot more than most of my friends. So, no, look, that wraparound service that you provide by default has just been, it's been so liberating and really, really good for the biz owner.
Look, I thoroughly thank you very much for your candidness and honesty. And there we are, contract management service, something we all need.
Absolutely.